Hey y'all, and welcome to Bonner's Market, and welcome to my Eggcited about Easter collab. I am excited about this collab because I am joining some of my friends today. The host is Krista at Krista's Crafty Life. Her co-host is Craftastic DIYs. Then there's myself, Rustic and Lace DIYs, Connie's Creative Creations, Crafts Unleashed by Robin, Crafty Hints by Chantel, and my beautiful friend Sarah from Can Sarah DIY It. So I'm going to hush jabbing and let's get right into DIY number one. For DIY number one, I am making these adorable little pictures that I got from the Dollar Tree. So I found these little pictures and they are so cute. They're kind of small and they're made out of like tile. And I mean, they're hard as a rock with a little wooden frame. So I'm going to use my ivory chalk paint by Waverly, and I'm going to just give them a really good coat of paint. Because what I'm going to do with these is a method called the water slide method to add my picture to it. Now, if you don't know what a water slide is, it's a piece of paper that you can print on, and it has a backing on the back of it and a glue on the top, on the back of the front, a glue that's in between the two pieces of paper, should I say. Now, this is the little picture that I'm going to use for one of them, and that's what the water slide looks like. To activate the water slide, you literally stick it in water, and that water activates that glue that's on the back of the top of the water slide. So I'm going to take my fingers and I'm going to add a little bit of water to my picture. I'm also going to use that little thing of coffee that you see sitting there to distress my pictures. Now, I could have used a, an array of things to distress this with, but I absolutely love the vintage feel that coffee gives it when you mix it with water and it kind of melts all down, and it's not too dark, it's not too light, it's just right for this vintage look. So once it's activated, and you know by sliding in it, and if it's sliding off of the backing, then it's ready. So once it's ready, you want to place it down on your item that you're putting it on, and you just literally slide it off. That's why it's called a water slide. Now, the good thing about water slide is you can pick it up and put it down a couple of times, but you can't do it a lot because once that glue starts to dry, there's no re-wetting it. So you want to make sure that you get your picture fairly quickly where you want it to stay. Now, I did struggle with this a little bit, so I had to take it off and put it back down a couple of times. But once you get it down, it's going to stay right where it's at. And it really doesn't need to be sealed, but I always seal mine anyway for a couple of reasons. It just keeps it protected, and it just gives you a nice overall finish. That way your picture and your picture that you printed and your frame and everything has the same finish on it, and it just doesn't look unfinished. And then I take my little paintbrush and I just get all of the bubbles and stuff out of it, and that's what it looks like whenever it's down. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit so you don't have to watch me drag through that again. And then I take my coffee and just, go all around it and distress it some more. So instead of using my finger like I had started out with, I kind of went back and forth between the brush and my finger because it was turning my finger brown, and I didn't know if it was going to stay that way for days or if it would wash right off or whatever. And I didn't really have a glove handy, so I thought I would just use my paintbrush there, and it worked. But now when you're using this coffee to distress your items, it works better on a lighter surface, obviously. And the longer you leave your coffee on your craft that you're doing, the darker that stain will become. And I didn't want it too dark. I just wanted it a little light, vintagey kind of a feel to it, if that makes any sense. So you just take your coffee and you just rub it all over wherever you're wanting that stain effect at, and it works beautifully. Now, I will not lie to you, it is a mess. I mean, oh Lord have mercy, I had coffee everywhere, all over my floor and everything, but that's because I'm a messy crafter. But it smelled good. I mean, I'm not even a coffee drinker, and I really loved smelling it. It was a nice aroma to sit there and craft with. So once you got that done, I'm going to just set these to the side. Now, for whatever reason, oh no, I did not. I'm giving it that Mod Podge. I forgot about, I did tell you I'm going to Mod Podge it, but I haven't Mod Podged it until now. So I'm just giving it that coat of Mod Podge real quick. But for whatever reason, this time I did not finish each project individually. I've never done that before. So we're going to jump right into DIY number 2. And then when I'm finished with all of my DIYs, I'll go back and embellish them. No clue why I chose to do it this way, but I did. Now this is another picture from the Dollar Tree, or a little stand. And it was really pretty. I love the stain, but this is Easter. So I took the little cross off, and I did save that because I'm sure I can use that in something else. When I took it off, it left a little rough spot there. So I just took my little hand sander from the Dollar Tree and just smoothed it out. And once I did that, I gave it a good coat of that ivory chalk paint. Now this is going to be my theme. I'm going to use the same ivory chalk paint on all 3 of my projects. So I just gave it a really good coat of the paint, let it dry, and this is the little picture that I picked for this particular craft. Same deal. So I'm not going to do this slow and drag it out. You get your project ready, figure out where you want it placed, dip it down in the water, activate your glue, put it on the paper, take your coffee and place it all over and just get it good and distressed. And that's it until we come back in a few minutes and embellish it. And again, I don't know why I did it this way. I always finish it one at a time, but for whatever reason, I just didn't do it this time. So I finish it up with my Mod Podge, and then we're going to jump right on into DIY number 3 and get it ready. And this is the cute little picture that I am doing this time. Now I started out with these little pictures that you can get from the Dollar Tree, of course, because that's my deal today. Now you see 3 of them there, but I'm only going to use 1 for this particular project. It was just easier for me to prepare all 3 of them at the same time. So it was already coming off. The paper on this was already coming off. So I just went ahead and fought like a madman, but I eventually got it off. And once I got all of that paper off, I went in with the same ivory chalk paint and gave it a really good coat of paint and got it ready for my water slide. Now for this one, it's quite a bit bigger than the first 2 pictures that I used, the little square ones, and I was able to print out a little bit bigger picture, and I absolutely fell in love with these little vintage pictures. And all I did to get my pictures was Googled free vintage Easter pictures. And look at that little thing. Isn't he adorable? She adorable. I don't know if it's a he or she, but I loved it. I thought it was too cute. And again, I'm going to just kind of rush through it because you've already seen me do it with the first one. And there's no sense in dragging you through all that again. So, but with this one, I did do something a little different. I took the edges and wet all the way around it, as you see right there. And then I took my fingers and I just pinched off all the way around it until it just looked old and tattered and torn. And got another cup of coffee, or little pot of coffee, because I spilt the first one all in my rug. So I took that coffee, distressed all around the edges super good, and then same deal, wet the little pitcher that I'm using, and took the coffee and just distressed it all over. And I mean, the finish, and I know I've already said this, but the finish is so adorable. So I did take this Mod Podge and Mod Podge this one down to the back of my picture, because this was not a water slide. This was just a regular
picture printed on a piece of printer paper. So that is a little bit different than the other ones that I've done in this video. But I did finish it the same with the coffee going all around and distressing it. And once I got that done, then I gathered all 4 of my little projects together and started embellishing them. And this is what I used to doll them up a little bit right here. So the first thing I used was these little picks from the Dollar Tree, and they were called Spike. Like, that's literally what they were called, Spike. And they came in several different colors. This peachy color, pink color, yellow. I think it had a blue and a purple in there. And it matched all of my pictures fairly decently. And it just kind of brought them all together. So I took this farmhouse, and it's literally called Farmhouse Ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and used it, and my zip ties for my little swags, my twine, and my little pearls that I'm going to be using. Then I also had a little sheet of these little pearls, and it's just little strips of pearls that come in a little line, and they're already sticky, but it also came with glue that I did not end up using, but it was self-adhesive. So I took those and used them for an embellishment on each of my pictures, and I'll show you how I did that. I decided where I wanted this little piece of ribbon on the bottom and cut it to size. And then I took one of those rows of beads and just placed it right down on the top of that piece of ribbon, just to embellish it a little bit and give it a little bit more cuteness and daintiness. And like I said, it was self-adhesive, so it stuck right down. And decided where I wanted to put that on the bottom, just kind of eyeballed placing it down there. And then once I got that done, I started making my swag. The first thing I did is made my little bow with that farmhouse ribbon, and got my bow made. And then I took the spikes, and that's literally, like I showed you a minute ago, what they're called. But I took my little flowers and cut a few of them off and just made a little swag and put the bow that I'm making here right on top of it. Then, to add a little bit more to it, I made myself a little finger bow with my twine and added it to the top of that bow that I made with the farmhouse ribbon. Once I got that done, you will see me take a pearl and stick it right in the middle of it. And that's how I finished this off. That's how that one turned out. Now, to embellish my 2 little tile pictures, I just took that farmhouse ribbon and I glued it all the way around the edge of each one of those pictures. And then once I got that glued down, I went back with those same little beads, and I took a strip and just put a strip down both sides and across the top. Once I got that done, I just made myself a cute little bow to put on each end of, or pardon me, on the corner of each one, and added another little pearl right to the top of that little bow. And that was it. That's all I did for these. And I thought they just turned out too stinking cute. I forgot I did go back in with these tumbling tower blocks, and I just added one to the back of each one just to make sure that whatever surface I stood it up on, it would have a wide enough base to stand there without getting knocked over. And once I did that is when I went in and made my little bows for the top corner of each one of my pictures. I did forget to mention that. And then last but not least, I made a little swag for the top of the bigger picture that I did. And I made this swag pretty much the same as I did for the little stand-up picture. I just took my flowers, put them together, zip tied them, added a cute little bow, and then put a little pearl right smack on top of that. And that was it. I was done, and I thought it just turned out so cute. And I know I keep saying that, but I love the vintagey, old-fashioned feel of the way that these turned out. You know, I forgot that I did go back on the front of this picture down towards the bottom and add a piece of that ribbon like I did on that taller stand-up picture. And once I got that piece of ribbon glued down to that, then I was finished. And I had completely forgotten about that until now. So this is the end of my little decorations that I've done for you for our Eggcited for Easter collab. And I am so in love with this old vintage, I don't even know what else to call it. It's like super old from way back when. And I think that coffee just gave it the most perfect sort of distressing to match the pictures that I went with. And I'm eager to know what you think about my excitement. Do you think I'm going overboard, or is it like not all that I'm thinking it is? Y'all know I love it when you're honest with me. So let me know what you think about the way I distressed it, the old vintagey look. And for my OGs, you know you've seen this in the past, but this one crept up on me and I had to act fast. So these were perfect for this video. So I just wanted to thank Krista for hosting this challenge and for allowing me to be a part of this challenge. Thank you to her co-host and all of my other friends in the collab for joining us. And go watch the playlist, see what everybody else has done for you today. But thank you for coming to Monter's Market. Thank you for watching. God bless. Bye now.